ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So my Fitbit app tells me that I have been up since 3:29 a.m.
Ouch.
So I do as I often do is I work all day at my desk, and that's great. I can stay awake, I can work. And then at some point in the evening, I think, you know what? I'm going to go sit on the couch and put a blanket over me. And then I do a little work and I say, you know what? I'm just going to put my computer down for a minute and take a nap. And then I wake up at 3:29 a.m. and do work. So last night, the put down your computer and take a nap happened at 9:27 p.m. So since Fitbit told me I had gotten almost 6 hours of sleep, 5 hours and 50 minutes, I just stayed up. So I've been up since 3:29 a.m. doing work. And so if I, nod off here during the podcast or am even less sensical than I usually am, y'all will excuse me.
We know.
We'll fill in the blanks. Don't worry.
Yes.
If you nod off.
Yes. See, it used to be pre-Fitbit. I would have to guess how long I had been asleep. I would not remember exactly when I laid down, and I would feel like I should probably go to bed. But now, 5 hours and 50 minutes. That's almost 6 hours. It's close to 7 hours. It's not that far from 8 hours. I can get up. It's the beginning of my workday.
Interestingly, that's when I go to bed.
Yeah, is it?
I've got major insomnia these days.
Aw.
Not sure if it's age-related, but...
Send me a little good night when you do, because that's about when it's like we're shifts passing in the night.
Yep, that's the time I usually end up falling asleep these days.
Well, but that's 3:30 your time.
Yes.
By which time I was already,
you're up.
had been working for a few hours, I would have said. Yeah. Going to bed?
Yeah.
We're just getting started.
I've been up for hours.
I hate that, and when you get up really, really early, I'm going to do so much work, I'm going to get so much done, and then the clock keeps moving. Stop. It can't be 6, it can't be 10. No. I was going to get all this done before my day started. Time is so frustrating.
My husband lately has been staying up later and then sleeping in the morning because a lot of his work he's been doing with people in California, so 2 time zones away. So he has decided that means that he can sleep until 9 on a work day. And
therefore you should be tippy-toe quiet.
Well, I don't. I mean, forget it. No way. But it's just
send in the
assumed
dogs.
that I'm getting up to make sure everyone else is getting up and getting out the door, and that's the part that drives me bananas.
That is annoying.
Oh, because he helps you in the morning, doesn't he? Sorry.
Speaking of dogs,
someone's at the door. Nicole, someone's at the door. Nicole, mom.
Come here. Missy, come here.
Aww.
Get up here.
That's a lovely sound that we have not had around our house for some time. Poor my girl.
Lie down. I'll send you Missy for a little vacation.
That's okay.
You're like, oh, never mind.
We're still in that honeymoon phase of we miss the dog, but oh boy, is it kind of nice not to have to deal with all that stuff. Back on the topic of Catherine's husband. I understand where he's coming from, though. I mean, I'm constantly talking to my husband about the fact that if I fall asleep and then I wake up and I start working, his feeling is go to bed and get up early. But I'm like, if I'm awake now, I want to keep doing stuff. Because if I go to bed, then I'm not going to want to wake up. And then it winds up. But then, it is true that you work those hours and then you sleep later and then you lost that time anyway. So it's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I have some sympathy for him. His other issue is like Nicole, he has trouble sleeping and, so then he wants to stay asleep longer in the morning. And if his work schedule can allow that, then I should be happy
Yeah.
for him that he can. But it's
You don't like have neighbors who have gardeners who use power tools in their backyards at like 8 a.m. or streets being broken up by sledgehammers at 7:30 in the morning, like we do.
No,
Whenever I plan to sleep
wouldn't that
late,
be nice?
somebody is outside my window doing something loud. Marching bands. One morning it was kids yelling, "Car wash!" on a Saturday morning. "Car wash!" Right outside my window.
Oh, boy. No.
Well.
Not here.
Well, since we're all awake, maybe we'll get
Theoretically.
started. But Terri
For
might
the
be
moment.
awake, but Nicole and I are pretty
All
well
right.
awake.
I have coffee, so...
So we'll say hello and welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, and with me today are Nicole Erdix
Hello.
and Terri Morrow.
Hello.
Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about small pleasures on our speed round, shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup, and do some shameless self-promotion. But first, 'tis the season to lie to children.
Every season is the season.
Isn't that the truth? Does that ever stop? I mean, we're telling our kids all sorts of things from the day they're born. Just yeah. Isn't that why fairy tales were songs,
Right.
children's songs? It was kind of to keep them in line, and
Right?
I know all those sort of little myths and stories. But anyway, yeah.
We're
so
talking about more
we are
direct
talking about
dishonesty, right?
Yeah. We're talking about what lies have you told your children, rather, whether it's for their safety or out of convenience. For example, oh, look at the deer in the forest as we drive down the highway so that she doesn't have to look on the other side of the highway where the bathroom is. Because if she sees a gap with a we're going to stop there. So she turns her head in the opposite direction, looks for the deer that, of course, is non-existent. But
See, I was thinking more of the time where you tell your kid, look at the building over there to keep them
Yeah.
from seeing the dead deer in the
Oh, the
road, which is what we see here more.
Yeah.
no, because there was a time where every time we passed a gas station, she needed to go, and we loved gas station bathrooms. Like, oh my
Oh
God.
my goodness.
No.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah. So this article, I got the idea from an article here, or the sort of the topic from an article that was on the Offspring site of lifehacker.com, the Offspring page. Anyway, this parent sort of outlines, what types of things. I guess the author, their son had a hermit crab that he got for Christmas last year, and this crab lived for 2 months, but rather than tell the child that the crab had passed away, they told the child that Crabber was his name, was sick and needed to go to the crab hospital to get a new shell. So they kept this lie going on about, the Crabber was at the crab hospital. Vacationing,
Oh, my.
swimming, trying on new shells. Apparently not the kind of hospital we go to. And,
Yeah, right?
Oh dear.
and then recently Crabber 2.0 made his grand return home, and the child never knew that it was not the same crab.
dear.
So
That is an elaborate lie. Man.
I know. They really took
Apparently-
that
apparently-
to extremes.
Crabber even sent a postcard
goodness.
saying that
Yeah.
things
That's
were
a whole
going
nother topic.
Oh.
Not only what lies do you tell your kids, but how elaborate do you get? Because then when eventually they find out it was a lie, do they wonder, man, how much time did you spend
I
on
know,
that?
yeah.
And how much does it compound the lie to have made this entire infrastructure? That's what, people who have elaborate Santa rituals
Oh my gosh.
and Elf on the Shelf rituals.
Yeah.
That's you're investing in that untruth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's That's time consuming. Well, interestingly, my husband's, he tells of a story when he was younger. I might have even told this before on the podcast, of this sort of story that his parents had, I'm going to use the word cooked up, pun, for him, but he had a pet rabbit named Tiny Tim.
Uh-oh.
And
this is I'm worried already.
So many lies involve dead animals.
Yeah, so Tiny Tim went missing one day. And Peter, my husband looked for it and couldn't find it. And then a couple of nights later, they had some stew with some questionable meat in it.
Oh, no!
So,
Oh, gosh.
yeah.
This
Peter,
is taking a terrible turn.
My husband was, he had pretty much caught on to what was going on. His parents were.
You Canadians are brutal.
Yeah,
They're
they're
hunters,
joking around.
man. Living in the woods. Not all of us. I don't want to start that stereotype.
Oh, dear.
But his parents denied it and still deny it to this day.
Oh, my
That was
gosh.
Let's do.
Oh, my gosh.
That's like when,
We just went and bought a completely different rabbit to have for dinner, honey.
right. We one time when we saw this little advertisement for come visit our farm. We have brand new baby lambs, and you can see the babies, and we thought, oh, that's so adorable. Let's take the kids. And we took the kids, and we got to go to this 100-year-old barn, and all these cute little baby lambs with like fleece, like the artificial fleece that we make clothes and blankets out of. They all had little blankets made out of that, and it was adorable. And then they're like, come on in the house afterwards, we have treats. Yeah, what kind of treats did they have besides the cookies? Lamb stew.
Oh, no.
In the house. And that was when we were like, look over here, there's cookies. Because it turns out that you were visiting the lambs so you could pick out which one you wanted.
Oh, of course you were. Of course you were.
We had no idea.
Oh,
no
my.
idea. We were like city people that could not figure that out.
Thought it was a petting zoo, but
Totally.
no.
That's how it was advertised.
It was the meat aisle of the supermarket.
See, that's almost as bad as the Tiny Tim story.
I know. At least we didn't actually eat our pet lamb that we didn't have.
Oh, my.
But I have
so
definitely done the replace a fish with another fish.
Yeah.
Lie. I have. But I did not cook up the whole, like, the fish is at the fish hospital, swimming around, recovering.
That's where it starts to get dicey for me.
Sneaked it in the middle. But we also, we had that problem with Santa, because every other year we would be at my mother-in-law's, and like then you had to combine like how she did it,
right?
How my brother-in-law did it, and how we did it, and we had to reorganize everything,
right?
Yes,
to make it all equal, and like, well, what's Santa giving, and what are we giving, and what is she giving, and is it wrapped or not, and do you get it on Christmas Eve or do you get it on Christmas morning,
and then you get into the conversation of, you don't believe in Santa, but so-and-so still does, so we're just going to act like it's real. No, it's not really lying. I know I told you lying is bad. Lying is bad, but this isn't really lying. Well, yes, we are saying something is true that's not, but keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Do not get me in trouble with the in-laws. So,
and the other parents at school.
Exactly. Yes. It is not necessary to go to school and say, hey, guess what? Which is, I think, what I did when I was a kid, because I was just not the nicest child. But,
well,
truth teller,
my daughter, my daughter found out about the tooth fairy so speaking of routines and traditions, trying to coordinate between family members, I was trying to coordinate between countries at the time because her tooth fell out while we were in Canada. and the tooth fairy brought American money. So how come the tooth fairy gave her American money while she was in Canada?
Wow.
So there was this whole debacle about the currency that the tooth fairy was dealing in.
So much to think about. What a tangled web we weave.
Our tooth fairy recycled silver dollars that my husband had received when he was a kid, and he still has a little box of them, and he would give them, and the tooth fairy would take from that stash, and then they didn't fit in the piggy bank, so they'd just be sitting around, so they would get moved back into the stash.
Wow.
And reused when the time comes, because, there's like 32 teeth.
Yeah.
That's a fair amount of money that you're doing.
Did you guys save the teeth? I think we talked about this before.
No.
I think I maybe have one or two, but
I felt bad throwing them away.
I do feel bad throwing them away, but they're kind of gross.
But then I saw that.
Well, you rinse them off.
That creepy
Don't leave the blood and gore.
Objects and forget it.
Yeah. Oh.
Anything to do with teeth
I haven't
anymore.
seen that.
Never mind.
Don't.
More things I don't want to hear. La 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 la.
Yeah. Don't. That might have been a spoiler for our listeners if they were watching that.
Yeah. And for anybody doesn't like to hear upsetting things.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like the lies I tell my kids are more lies of omission. You know, like not telling them things they don't really need to know. There's been a few like that, and I will not go into any more detail than that because sometimes my daughter listens to this podcast, and I always tell the truth, honey. I have never lied to you. I've never left anything out. I wouldn't do that. We'll talk later. But I keep trying to think if there's like, when we adopted our kids, it was right before Christmas, and they were 4 and 18 months. So that first Christmas, there was really no time to do anything, really. We were just, we got back on December 1st, and they didn't speak English, and there was like no particular way to do some big Santa-y lie. So I don't think that we did. And then after that, it just didn't seem... Given their ages and all the other things going on, it just didn't seem right. So I don't think we ever did that. I might be wrong.
But how do you avoid that in the
we might
culture
have just,
and in the air?
Yeah, I can't remember what we did. I think we might have just always said, this is a nice story that this is a nice story that we tell. I didn't leave Santa's snowy footprints on the carpet by the tree. I can't remember if we laid out cookies. Maybe we did the first year or two. I don't remember because they did have younger cousins. But I don't think we ever I think I always did a half-hearted job of it. So it wasn't a full out, there's this guy and he's coming down our chimney that we don't have. And, I don't think we did. I think I just always kind of did it like, well, I got to do a little bit because everybody does it, but I don't want to start my relationship with these children with fiction. I just didn't, especially since at that point, by the time of our second Christmas, my daughter was, 5.5. Yeah. And you don't want to start it then because that's just when kids are maybe starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and my son wasn't really communicating that much. So I don't think I could have really told him a story. Their language was so delayed. So I think I dodged that quite a bit. And I can't think of anything else. I don't think we did Tooth Fairy particularly. Maybe a little bit. I think I was always uncomfortable with it. So we never really... it was done. If it was done at all, it was done apologetically, and this is just a little thing we do for fun. Don't take it too seriously.
Right. Because that is scary. Like, this creature is going to creep into your room while you're sleeping.
Yes. Yes. A lot of that, the stories people make up for children are kind of scary.
Well, that goes back to my original point, though, is that a lot of those stories were made... to keep children from going in the woods or keep children from going into
that's true.
Old ladies' houses.
Good intentions.
Right? I mean, that's what a lot of those, isn't Krampus maybe, I don't, isn't that
I don't
kind
know
of
that
one of those?
Story.
I don't want to know that story.
Yeah. So
I know enough about that story to know I don't want to know
I think it's not a recent parenting. What would you call it? I mean, it's something that I think has been going on for centuries.
Yes.
We've been
true.
telling our kids.
We've been lying to our kids.
Our generation of parents just thinks about stuff more, I guess. You know, there's the whole encouragement to do big things, to put them on social media, but then there's also the 500 articles about whether it's a good thing to do or not, which didn't used to be a problem. You know, are you a bad parent if you lie to your kids? Are you a bad parent if you don't lie to your kids? If you do a big holiday thing, is that good? Is that bad? You know, take your pick. Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody arguing each side of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Fervently.
Yes.
So I think we definitely think about it more, but that often doesn't stop us from still doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, like Terri, you said lies of omission. I think mine is the mild misdirection.
Right.
You know, like, where's my XYZ? Oh, I don't know. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I do know.
Yeah.
I do know that I threw it away, or I do know that I already ate it, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure. We'll have to look for that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think all parents do that. But also sometimes if there's a thing that would be hard and it's not necessary for the kid to know, then why am I going to put that in your brain? You know, you don't need to have that. And sometimes it's really hard because I want to talk about it, but it's like, no, this is not, I will bear this burden. Yeah. You do not need to know this. And that happens sometimes in families.
I've always struggled with that because I always worry about, well, what happens if they find out or when they do find out?
Yeah.
You know, like
that's true.
When my daughter, I'm sorry, I keep taking this off in the not so pleasant directions, but when my daughter was younger and had a friend who was very ill and was in the hospital and had the parents found out fairly early on after their daughter was diagnosed that it was a terminal illness. We really thought and felt that we needed to share that with Kristen so that she wasn't blindsided by it at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like it was, so I always have struggled with that. Like,
yeah.
I didn't go into a lot of detail, but we kind of kept her abreast of as the events unfolded and things happened, and we didn't want to be saying, because kids talk too, right, on the playground,
right? Definitely,
that's the other thing.
That is true.
Kids talk. So I don't know.
I'm sure I've made those kinds of mistakes before. It's omitted something that then is found out later and is upsetting. But there are things, I think there are a few things that like would not be known to others. And so,
and sometimes if you're talking about it's something in the news or that kind of thing,
right? It
kind of blows over or gets replaced by some other thing, and then it's okay that they never heard it, or once they do, maybe it's a softer blow because it's happened a while ago.
Well, that's a good point. Stuff in the news. How much do you tell kids? In what detail do you tell them? You know, you try to simplify things. You don't necessarily want to get into every single detail of the school shooting or 9/11 or whatever. You know, you have to kind of pitch it to their particular age. And, you know, I don't know if that's a lie or if that's just a paraphrase.
Yeah. Well, and because kids do talk and you don't want them getting misinformation. So you want them to have the accurate information, but yet it has to be age appropriate, and the stuff they're getting from outside the house may not be age appropriate, and you can't block it all. You just can't.
It's hard. I mean, if you have a kid who you know is easily upset by things, there have been times I just really did not want to say stuff about stuff in the news because I knew it would be a thing, and you know, you can't not, but like we talk about TV shows or movies, if it's a horror movie and there's a part you don't want to watch, you close your eyes, put your hands over your ears. I kind of feel like it's like that. It's like, there's parts of this you don't need to hear or see. Just close your eyes. I will put my hands over your ears. But gosh, especially with social media though, there's just no way you can't, because it's like all over social media in a second, So there have been things that I have told them about just because I knew they were going to see it and I wanted them to hear it from me. And I hate that. I wish that were not the case. I wish people would just shut up.
And that's why I kind of feel like we probably held back more with my son, but with my daughter, because she had the influence of her older brother and the influence of the internet and cell phones. And I think maybe that's why we were also more honest with her about certain things, because that we may have withheld from our son, because we knew that she would find out anyway and that she would have a lot of questions about it. So I think, and maybe that's just true in general with second kids and the third, kids, because they're just going to hear about it sooner. It's harder to keep it on the down low. Yeah, so,
that's true.
So probably, I think too, that's another reason why we were a little bit more open with our daughter, and other than, of course, the whole deer versus the gas station bathroom scenario.
That darn social media making it difficult for us to lie. Dang it. One of the many burdens it must bear.
Yes. So...
Now the kid's going to say, "Where's the deer? I want to take a picture of it on my phone."
I know. Were you told any lies by your parents that you've since found out about?
I don't know. I suppose. I mean, I don't think I was told the exact nature of my relationship to my sister until I was older, which I would not necessarily have understood. I seem to remember when I found out she was my half-sister, not my sister, feeling a little ticked. And I don't know. I'm sure there were other things. I think there was stuff.
So you thought Santa was your sister, but just much older.
Yes. Yeah. I know it didn't really change anything, but I mean, I know we had relatives who did a whole elaborate Santa thing. And at some point, I know I found out, I don't remember if I was angry or not. I think I was just concerned that it would mean I would stop getting presents.
Right.
As once that was made clear for me, it was like, oh, cool. So now I negotiate with you, Mom, instead of having to write a letter to the guy in the suit. Excellent.
Right. We just cut out the middleman. Excellent.
You're much more responsive to guilt than Santa is.
I don't feel like I can't think of anything major, which kind of, it goes back to this whole, like, how could you lie to your kids? Like, well, we probably all have. I mean, and even when you're adults, people lie to you too. Like, it's just life. Like, you all have to learn how to live with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of the ones in that article were funny.
They were. I had to laugh.
Like, I've definitely heard the one before about, like, the ice cream truck plays music when it's out of ice cream.
Oh, see, I haven't heard that one.
And I've also heard, I know someone who did, it's the music truck. Isn't that nice? They just left ice cream out of it entirely. Oh, it just goes through the neighborhood and plays music for us. Which I thought was a good call.
That's funny. Yeah.
That's one of the ones when the kids find out you were lying, they're going to be ticked.
Like, you owe me about 25 ice cream cones right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, my kids have figured out that I like ice cream, and if they want ice cream, they just need to say, like, can we get ice cream and you can have one,
Right. So. And this is the fraught thing about all of this, is that if you tell a lie like that to your kid, and then your kid says that to other kids, they're going to get laughed at, and it's going to be your fault. And do you want to be responsible for that? Maybe it's worth it to not have to buy ice cream 500 times a week, but you don't want to be... That's an excruciating moment for your child.
Right.
when they're being laughed at and realizing they were betrayed by their parent at the same
And
time.
realizing they missed out on a whole
Betrayal
lot of ice
and
cream.
humiliation all together. And yes, and sorrow for lost ice cream.
Right.
That's a lot. You got to be careful about that, I think.
Yeah. I can't think of any. I mean, I'm sure my parents did tell me, but I don't.
Maybe there are things and we just never found them out.
We still don't know.
That's
There
right.
are possible skeletons in the closet in my family, and my only comfort is that there are people in my family who would have told if they knew, because that's the kind of people they were. So I feel pretty good that there's not, but you never know. There's a couple of things I wonder about.
Could be some surprises.
Yes, but I don't. There's a couple of individuals in particular that I don't think could have kept a secret. So unless people were lying to them too.
Which is
Which is
possible.
always possible. You never know.
Yeah.
That's why people take those DNA tests. You never know.
Yeah.
Those-
There's
those-
such a fascinating article in the New York Times, like a huge special section.
Yeah.
It was all about all the revelations that are coming out.
Lots of family secrets.
Yes, because of the DNA. Like, this parent is not my actual parent, or I have a secret brother, or, all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fascinating.
I would pass on doing any of that. I'm happy with my life the way it is. Thank you very much. Not looking for anything else. So I will continue in my ignorance, if ignorance it is. Out of respect for deceased lie tellers, Well, speaking of the little lies we tell all the time, our speed round topic this week has more little things. We're going to talk about some of the small things we do to make our day better, like possibly telling lies. But I don't know, fibbing to our kids and laughing at them behind their backs. But no, that would not be nice. I don't know, podcasting is maybe a little thing that we do to make our day better. Listening to podcasts is certainly a day that I make my day better. Sometimes I listen to podcasts while I read do particularly boring work, and it gets me through. How about you, Catherine? What small things do you do every day to make your day better?
Yeah, I do the same in terms of usually not work, listening to podcasts, but, folding laundry, putting away dishes, that kind of like housework, or yard work or whatever, or driving. I listen to podcasts during all of those, exercise.
Yeah.
And it for sure helps me with all of those things. So that and, food-related things definitely make my life better, but
I was thinking about
to
that.
not do that.
Snacking.
Yeah.
Snacking is one of those things.
Try to avoid that.
I'm just getting up to do some exercise, and while I'm walking, perhaps I'll pass by the pantry. That's not the way it's supposed to work. But still.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram can often deliver like just a little something cute or pretty that
a little
makes you
of
smile.
distraction.
Yeah. So that, I'm trying to think what else.
Speaking of lies, we tell ourselves. Yeah. Dogs are a nice distraction.
Yes.
They make the day better. I would like to say I take walks as a little thing to make my day better, but I have not done that in a really long time. It was really, really hot, and then I was really, really busy, and now it's kind of cold. So
yeah, it was
get back to it eventually.
It was 15 degrees this morning where I am. So
yeah, not so much walking
it's
weather.
not for walking outside.
Nicole, you could walk outside. Is that one of the little things you do to make your day better? We know the answer to this.
I don't walk, but I get on my exercise bike, and then I feel it doesn't necessarily make my day feel better, but I feel better. I guess that makes my day better.
Yeah,
whatever.
There you go.
But
you do that, and then you can go eat cookies.
Exactly. Then I don't have to stress about what I'm eating. No, that is not supposed to be the way it works. What makes stopping by Starbucks if I'm going out somewhere.
There you go.
That's my little treat to myself. And definitely if my son or my daughter, they help me with the dishes or there's something that they
That's
take
something
out the
they do to
trash.
make your day better.
Yeah. But let's see. Yeah, connecting with people, whether online or in person.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always makes my day.
Whenever
A
the
good
three of us
lunch.
have a little chat on Facebook, it makes my day better.
Pardon?
I said, whenever the three of us chat on Facebook, it makes my day better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I always enjoy a good.
All our little gifts. And
I know,
fun
it's
times.
because of the gifts.
I do not want to add up the amount of time I spend in my day looking for the perfect gift and then giving up.
Or
At least
just
you
do what
get
I
it.
do and put the wrong one in.
Yeah, I could just pick anyone and go, oh, darn, that's not the one I meant to do.
Meant.
Yeah. No. I think there's there's little things through the day,
Yeah.
whether it's accomplishing a chore or
Mhm.
having a treat or doing a little bit of exercise, talking to
Yeah,
my
something that makes you
friends.
feel productive.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that makes my day better.
That's definitely a piece of it. Like I can't.
Mhm.
The other day, I should say the other day, yesterday, it poured rain here, like
Mhm.
like unprecedented pouring of rain in Southern California. And it was just, you didn't want to even go outside kind of rain because it was just buckets coming down. And so I thought, oh, this is a perfect day just to sit on the couch, turn on the fireplace, get some
Ah.
work done on, various things on my laptop. And I thought, oh, this is going to be such a treat to myself. But then I felt so guilty towards the end of the day. Like, even though I was doing some work, I still felt, because I hadn't gotten out or I hadn't had any exercise or whatever. Yeah. So clearly,
Yeah.
sitting on the couch doing work all day is not the best way to make myself feel better.
I guess not.
Even if you're working.
Right. So,
Well, we hope that listening to us and this podcast go on and on is something that you do to make your day better. Hope you're having a good day. And if you have any great ideas of things we could do to make our day better, mention it in the comments or hit us up on Twitter at Roundabout Chat. And also, continue to make your day better by listening to a new speed round every Wednesday through Friday.
hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode of Parenting Roundabout. We're not one of those podcasts that's trying to sell you websites or mattresses or meal kits. I mean, we totally would, but no one's asked us yet.
There is, however, something you can do that costs you nothing, but will put a little change in our pockets. Listen to our podcast on the Radio Public app. Download the app to your iPhone or Android device and listen to Parenting Roundabout there, and we'll get paid for each listen. Plus a little more if you listen a lot.
We think you'll enjoy listening to all your podcasts on this app, but if you could at least listen to Parenting Roundabout there, we'd be very grateful. Now, back to the episode.
And now we bring you some of the things we've read or seen or used recently. And these tend to be things that can make our lives better.
Yes.
So things that we want to shout out and share with you. I'll start. I think I've mentioned tea on this in this segment before, but just a shout out to my favorite brand, Stash Tea. This is for tea bags, not bottles. This company called Stash has a double spiced chai flavor.
Ooh.
So it's
Yum.
just the tea, it doesn't have the sweeteners and milk and stuff that you get in a chai latte. It's just the chai part, the tea and the spices, and it is delicious though, and I can drink it without all that other stuff, which is helpful.
Nice.
And like I said, you want the double spice flavor, not just the regular chai, but the double.
Okay.
Make mine a double.
Good to know.
How about you, Nicole? What do you have to share?
Well, when I was reading up on that article on the Life Hacker site, or Offspring, I don't even know how they organize that. What are they? Do you know which sites I'm talking about? It's like The Onion, Lifehacker, Deadspin, Jezebel. Do you know those?
They're
sites?
like a network.
Yeah, and then they have these sub-sites. Anyway, as I was checking those out, I came across theinventory.com. And it is basically an inventory of products. So if you're looking for, of course, at this time of year, gifts for the holiday season, there's a plethora of gift ideas that it lists. It's kind of like, this one big gift list. So yeah, it's kind of a cool little site that I spent a lot of time looking around. And actually that whole network of sites it's kind of interesting to go through and check them out. Yeah. So I will call out the inventory today. That's
okay.
And how about you, Terri?
Well, speaking of podcasts, and to backtrack a little bit, Catherine and I recently watched Dancing with the Stars, and the unlikely winner was Bobby Bones, who is a country radio host, and I really, really enjoyed watching him. And I couldn't find the radio show anywhere near me, but I did find that I could get a podcast of his show without the music, just the talk, which has been very enjoyable. So I subscribed to that podcast. And then he also has a podcast that he just records at his house called the Bobbycast that pops down every now and then. So I've been listening to that. And then his co-host, Amy Brown, started a podcast called 4 Things with Amy Brown, in which she talks about, four things. Every episode, there are 4 things that she talks about. It's usually like health, nutrition, shopping, different fun things. I've really enjoyed listening to it. I've enjoyed listening to all of them. So I am in a little Bobby Bones podcast universe, and I am enjoying it a lot. The radio show is every day. The others are periodic, but it's been a lot of fun. So if you too enjoyed watching Bobby Bones on Dancing with the Stars, if you are not one of the people who are apoplectic that he won, but in fact we're rooting for him, check out the podcasts. We'll have links to them in our show notes.
Yeah, especially the Bobbycast. If you watched Dancing with the Stars and you didn't know anything about Bobby beforehand, I'm describing myself here. The 2 episodes in particular that he did specifically about the experience were very interesting, and he's very forthright about how he won. And you get a little bit of behind the scenes information and so I recommend that also. And
if you follow him on Instagram, he's been taking the mirror ball everywhere with him. And there's many, many adorable photos. There's one of him sitting under his Christmas tree with the mirror ball. There's a party he gave and they had mirror ball cookies. He brought it to different events when he was, I guess he does stand up, and he was, just letting fans stand and take a picture with it. So he has been super into it, and I enjoy that.
Sweet.
Good. Well, now for our final segment today, we are going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some of the things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. Catherine, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, since I mentioned Instagram before in our speed round, I'll just throw in here that you can follow the podcast on Instagram at PR Podcast. And it's just like we said, it's a little quick hit, once or maybe twice a day that just will make you smile, to see what we post on Instagram. And then my own personal Instagram is chaleko, and you get my dogs looking funny, my kids dancing in their ugly Christmas sweaters, stuff from when I travel.
Yes.
So I enjoy it. So Instagram.
Yes.
How about you, Terri?
I don't know. I haven't, unfortunately, been doing anything other than boring work, so I don't have anything new to share. But if you enjoy looking through all our quote graphics that come at you constantly on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook, you can find on our Facebook page galleries of them and just spend. This is one of the things you can do to make your day better, is just keep hitting the button and going to the next one and looking at all our fun quotes. So, and there's usually a link to, if you decide you see something that looks funny and you want to listen to it, you can just click a link and go check out the actual episode. So give it a try. Lie to your kids. Tell them you're doing something important. You're doing important research.
I haven't added much to my blog, theinclusiveclass.com, but I did a little reorganizing of it and shuffling things around and making my articles a little bit simpler to navigate through or to even just see. So if you want to check out theinclusiveclass.com, head over there and you will find dozens of articles about inclusion and inclusive education related topics.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on Radio Public or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts.
You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Nicole Erdix, Catherine is at CHaleko, and Terri is at Momitude. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too.
Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on everything we've mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin at johnjmorin.com for providing our in and out music. And I wish everyone a great week.